Hi there.
Hi guys, welcome. We are glad you're here today for our segment on new construction vocabulary. It's something Elaine and I enjoy teaching very much, and we hope you enjoy our video today. Who are we? We should tell who we are.
Okay.
Who are you?
I'm Elena Money. I am an owner with this guy. Together we own Garmin Homes, just 11 years old. We own Durham Building Company. How old is Durham Building Company?
It's 4 years old this spring.
4 years old. Our little toddler. We own Go Realty and Fresh Paint by Garmin Homes, which is a sub-brand of Garmin Homes, and the school you're sitting in. We hope you like it.
We're partners in both business and life, and one of our favorite things is talking to new real estate agents and being a part of your career and development. So today, we're going to spend about 30 minutes, and our goal in this 30 minutes is to help you understand about 15 to 20 key vocabulary terms. So the good news about this segment is that if you pay attention to these terms, you will get 1 to 2 questions right on the test. So 1 to 2 questions are always about these terms. The bad news is we don't know which terms. So don't look to us for like special signals or cues. We have no idea. But these are really good terms for you guys.
Yeah, it's like learning a whole new language. So new construction comprises about 30% of transactions here in the Triangle. And you may be sitting in this class and thinking, well, actually, maybe I want to be an on-site agent. Maybe I don't want to be in general brokerage. Either way, this is either going to comprise most of your world or a significant portion of your world. So think of this like learning a whole new sub-language for real estate. New construction, your mastery of this language and your conversationality, is that a word? Conversationality?
Yeah,
We're going to make it a word. Will improve your effectiveness as an agent because it'll help you read your inspection reports. It'll help you identify the parts of the house and act like you know what you're talking about. So it is a whole new language. It takes a while to get used to, but it's like anything else. The more you use it, the better you're going to be at your career, your endeavors, and any transaction you come across.
Cool. So you'll see from how we start, we're going to start at the very first steps of the house, and the words and the vocabulary will take you all the way through. So let's get started.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right, guys, our first word is footing. So the gentleman on the backhoe right there is digging a footing, which is the very first thing we do. And in this market, the footings only have to be about 12 to 14 inches deep to get below the frost line. But the backhoe digs these trenches, and once the city's coming to inspect the trenches, then we pour concrete into those trenches.
Yeah, this is typically a really exciting time for buyers, and there you are stepping over the transition there, pointing out the frost line and where the concrete will.
Oh, those little nails, right? The concrete goes up to those nails, yeah.
Exactly. That's an engineer. He's testing the soil there, make sure everything's impacted correctly.
Yeah. Oh, there's the footings with the concrete in them. That was so quick.
I know. Presto. I wish we could build a house this fast.
Yeah, this is fun to see. So this is a perfect shot for the next word we have coming up here, which is the foundation. And
There's the foundation wall.
Again, it's like magic.
I know. I love it.
So the foundation wall gets built right on top of the footing. In this market, it's usually block or brick, some sort of masonry, sits right on top of that footing. And then the dirt gets backfilled up against it. So you don't see the footing anymore, but the footing is still down there.
You know exactly what it's sitting on.
Absolutely.
This is a really important part inside the footings, the foundation piers.
Yeah, the piers are, if the house is so wide that one of the floor joists can't go all the way across, they put piers in the middle to support the middle. So if you ever go into your crawl space and crawl around in there, you probably see these piers holding up the floor system.
Yeah, and inspectors will frequently refer to the foundation piers. This is a point that they're going to make sure that they check.
Absolutely. I'm showing how to put, that's where the big joists go. Oh, and that's a crawl space door. They left a little hole in the foundation there just so you can get into your crawl space. We've sometimes built houses and forgotten to put that spot in there. We've had to come back. This next word is sill plate. So the first thing we do on top of the foundation when we frame is we put a piece of 2x4 or 2x6 all the way around the perimeter, right on top of the foundation. And it's a treated piece. There's a piece right
Exactly.
there. So
It's the first horizontal piece of lumber.
that's the official real estate thing. Yeah, that we drill holes in a piece of 2x6 and we put them down on the anchor bolts, and then we put the nuts and washers on so the house doesn't blow away.
So there it is installed, and you can see the nuts and the anchor bolts, how they're attached to it. Mm-hmm. So even before the sill plate is installed, you'll be able to observe where everything's going to be attached.
Oh wow, great shot there. The foundation wall, the sill plate, a preview of a few upcoming terms there, the studs and the sheathing. I love that shot.
Yeah, where sill plate is horizontal, the studs are the vertical members of the framing package, and then the sheathing kind of holds it all together.
Yeah, the sill plate is so important because it's treated, so it keeps any of it doesn't deteriorate like a normal piece of wood. It's like your deck materials treated.
Great point.
Oh, now we're on to the floor system. So these are floor joists.
You're showing the distance between them there.
Mm-hmm. And oftentimes they're eye joists. That's what we use here, where the shape of those joists are called eye joists. Sometimes they might be real 2x4s or 2x10s or 2x12s. But this is what goes right on top of the sill plate, or the floor joists.
And then, yep, there you are. You can see the whole spectrum of them, how they're installed on top of the foundation wall.
Yeah. Builders put these different spacing. We like to keep ours 19 inches on center. You can go as far as 2 feet on center. Oh, there's the
There
eye.
you go.
Look.
You can see the eye. The cross section's really important.
Yeah.
I'll keep it fresh in your head. I'm very visual.
Oh, good. And on top of the floor system, we're then going to put the subfloor down. And the subfloor is made of big sheets of OSB, plywood, and it's a tongue and groove system. So each of those
Exactly.
sheets, there's the grooves we're pointing to right there. Each of those sheets has grooves, and then the other side of the sheet has tongues, and then the grooves, they slide together to help keep the floor stable and hopefully without so
Yeah.
many squeaks.
Yeah, it sort of locks into place,
Yeah.
and then they're attached as well. But this helps with the, like you said, the floor squeaks.
Oh yeah, the gluing and screwing too.
Gluing
so
and screwing as well.
it's not required, but most good builders will put down a big thick bead of glue and then put the subfloor down, and then not just nail it, but screw it into place.
Exactly.
So it's a good question as you interview builders. You know, do you glue and screw your floors?
Yeah.
There's
And
the
here's
groove.
the subfloor piece, a single piece that you can identify from that stack, and you can observe both edges.
The subfloor is usually 3/4 of an inch thick.
And there you can see it installed.
This is so fun. It feels like a director's cut.
It is fun. I really like it rarely do we take the time to observe a house in this detail, and these are really good fundamentals for understanding new home construction. So we're moving on to studs from the subfloor, and as I mentioned earlier, these are the vertical members of the framing package. And studs can be 2x4, they can be 2x6. A lot of builders are using 2x6 studs because we can fit more batt insulation, which makes your home more efficient. And these are studs we're pointing out inside a garage, a detached garage. And
More studs. If the house didn't have any openings, no windows, no doors, the whole house could just be studs. It'd just be stud, 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 stud. But because houses have openings and they have windows and doors, we're gonna,
Right.
I think our next term's coming up here. Talk about the headers.
right, exactly. And builders will typically do a frame walk, and we're checking all the studs to make sure that they're put together the way they should be to accommodate the framing and the loads from windows and doors. There you are, pointing out a header.
Oh yeah, this is one of your words, guys. Yeah, header is because there's a big opening. We can't put studs all the way through it, so we have to have a big beefy piece of wood up there to distribute the load to either side.
And you can see how we've stacked up the studs on the side to carry that load that we're bridging across that header.
Yeah, and the bigger the opening, the beefier that header needs to be.
Exactly.
And the more studs on either side of it. There's a big header on a garage right there.
Right.
Right below that gentleman there. So, yeah, the header is sometimes made out of real wood. It might be LVL, which is a composite wood. Oh, I think you're...
We're moving on to the next member of the framing group, which are trusses, and I'm pointing out the triangle shape and then the bracing, the additional bracing that's provided there. So I love trusses. My favorite part of construction is when they swing trusses, when the framers swing the trusses. It's like a little rodeo out there, and they swing them all into place.
Oh, good. Here's sheathing. This is fun to see. This is roof sheathing. It's what we're seeing right now, and there's also sheathing that goes on the side of the house.
Which you can see right here, actually, the green board.
Oh, yeah.
It's a zip wall.
This is what holds the whole house together.
Exactly.
You know, the story I often tell is we've had framers put all the trusses up on the roof, but they haven't had time to put the roof sheathing on yet, the big sheets of plywood, and a big storm comes along that night.
Yeah.
And it blows all the trusses over like dominoes.
Or a house of cards.
Or a house of cards.
Yeah.
So the sheathing really holds the whole house together. And it's really fun to see because it goes on very quickly and it makes it really feel like a house.
Yeah, actually, this is the point where it actually looks like a house. And this is a structural element. And it's just reinforcing the structure that's behind all the engineering of the house.
Absolutely.
And this is sheathing.
All right, cool. We wanted to take a moment and just help you understand the truss situation versus the ridge board and the stick frame. So,
Right.
Elaine, first talk about stick frame houses. What are some of the benefits of stick frame houses?
You can do really intricate, funky roof lines. So much more custom houses will have a stick frame roof. You can design it in smaller increments and pieces versus a truss has to have kind of a flow to it.
That's good. Yeah, so a truss, let's just take a pass at a truss. So trusses have usually, I don't know,
Yeah.
some sorts of
Bracing to them.
bracing.
So they're engineered.
That's a terrible truss.
That's a really
That's
bad
a terrible truss. Can you draw it? Hold on, we're going to try this again. So while Elena's drawing, the trusses are built in a plant. So they're built in a plant in a factory, and they bring them out all at once, and then our framers, they set them up. They set them up on edge, but it's fairly easy to do. So from a construction point of view, we're not truss designers.
Maybe like that. So every piece of wood here is reinforcing the structure and shape. And then imagine these as slices, and then they're actually set in succession. So some of the video shows you how these trusses are set. And it's called swinging trusses. When the framers put these on, they bring a big crane in and they hook the crane to the top of the truss and they literally swing it into place. That's my favorite day of construction.
That's great. And then the other way of doing a roof, so roof truss is one of your words. Pay attention. Made in a factory, held together by little metal plates. The other way of building a roof is the old-fashioned way, where they set a ridge board, which is a long board across the top of the roof, and then they lay in rafters. And the way that looks is the ridge board is up top here. Let's say this is your house down here. And they set the ridge board, somehow magically they hold it up there, and then they lay in rafters like this.
And the rafters are pieces of wood.
Big, beefy pieces of wood, yeah.
That are attached to a piece. What's hard to convey here is that imagine this is the end of this, and it's coming out like this. And then every board attaches like this. So instead of a truss where you're setting them, you're actually attaching that top piece and then affixing to that top piece to create the same effect like a trussed roof, but it's much more freeform.
Yeah.
Now, is there a difference in quality?
No, in fact, a truss roof that's made in a factory is very well engineered, very strong, very stable, but like Elena said, not as flexible. So if it's a very complicated roof, sometimes you'll find them stick framing that roof and using that ridge board, that board right at the very top. So that's what you guys got to know, ridge board.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Cool. So the next word for you guys is pitch, as in roof pitch. And this is a very important word. If you live up north, often you'll see pitches that are super steep, like in the bottom right of this slide here, because you want the snow to roll off, right?
Exactly.
You want the snow to very quickly go off and not stay on the roof. In more southern climates, you might see a pitch that is less steep.
Exactly, and it's more popular with styles like bungalow or preservation and craftsman style. You'll see a lower pitch roof, and what you have to do to get the snow off of that roof pitch is to actually use a metal roof instead of a asphalt shingle.
Absolutely.
So it slides off. But
it's a good little thing that popped up here about how we get the pitch numbers. So 5 feet of rise and 12 feet of run is a 5-12 pitch. So a 9-12 pitch would be 9 feet vertically.
Exactly.
And 12 feet horizontally would be a 9-12 pitch. So in home buildings, we actually pay more to our roofers when the pitch is a 9, 10, or 11, 12. So it just depends on how steep and how dangerous it is to work up there.
Exactly.
Oh, there we go. Good. Gable roofs. This is a great shot of gable roofs, and a gable roof simply means it comes to a triangle. So anytime you see a triangle shape on a roof, that is a gable, and that's the key word for your test to keep an eye out for is gable. This is also a great shot of what a valley is. When two different roofs kind of come together perpendicularly, it makes a valley. But the other type of roof compared to a gable is a hip roof.
Exactly. And you'll observe all of these styles out there, but I'd say gable is probably the most popular. And in different types of architecture, you'll observe the hip roof. But now you know exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah, the hip is, I always think of a squished end, in a house. You see that end is just kind of squished down like that. If it were a gable, that would be popped all the way out there and it'd be a triangle on the end of that roof. Sometimes a third floor, you want to have a gable roof on your third floor walk-up attic because it gives you more space.
Exactly.
A hip roof kind of squishes it down a little bit.
Yeah, and then if you're looking to finish it, you're going to not be able to stand up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Certainly not at the edges. So these are great styles to know and to be able to observe them.
Oh, here we are.
There you are.
These are important words here. So I'm showing the fascia here. We're outside on a roof, and the fascia is this piece I've got my hand on right there. That's where the gutters are going to be nailed onto.
Exactly.
So when you think of the word fascia, think of that's where the gutters get nailed on.
And I always think it's like the face of the house because it's that front-facing piece.
Yeah, perfect.
That's how I use it to remember my vocab words. Okay, this is another important part you're pointing out here is the soffit. So when you look up under the roof, you're going to see this soffit space, and it's all these little holes cut in. So tell us what that does.
Oh, yeah, all those little holes are important. They let the ventilation, the air come in from the outside, and then it travels up and out the peak of the roof. So the soffit we talk about, one of our instructors talks about the soft underbelly.
Exactly. And then all that space together underneath that overhang is called the eave.
Yeah.
So the eave is sort of that collective space.
Yeah, the big picture word is eave for the whole situation of the overhang. And then the two specific words are soffit and fascia.
Yeah. And there you can see this is a long shot of a lot of eave space.
Mm-hmm.
These are also commonly referred to as overhangs.
Yep, overhang and eave, very similar words, yeah. These are good words for inspectors also. Oh, speaking of, if I were to put one word on the test, I think flashing is so important in your career because so many things bubble up about flashing.
Exactly. And flashing is how we control the flow of water around windows and
any penetrations, chimneys,
chimneys,
skylights. If the roof were just a whole bunch of shingles up there, roof leaks are very uncommon. It's when the shingles bump into something.
Exactly.
That's when you need some flashing. You need the flashing to keep the water away from that object, from that joint.
Exactly.
Flashing's usually metal.
Right.
It could be plastic. It could be various things, but we often think of metal.
I think of like a flash flood. So flash flood is when the water is gushing, and you want the water to gush away from these spots. You do not want penetration here. But this is a word that comes up often in inspection reports, especially around bay windows, which are very common. But these are all related to the flashing on the roof.
Absolutely.
But this is a word that you'll run into in your career, flashing.
We tell the story of getting the flashing wrong. So, I mean, that chimney, it's so important to get that flashing put on the bottom piece, and then next to the bottom piece, and then the upper piece. And we've had people put those on, install them in the wrong order.
Right.
And it just channels the water into the house. So when you think of a
Never
roof
a
leak,
good thing.
when you think of a roof leak, the first thing to think about is the flashing. It's
Exactly.
rarely the shingles. It's usually the flashing.
And proper installation is key here
Absolutely.
for the flashing to do its job.
Absolutely. Oh, this is a funny word.
You love forced air heating system.
I always make fun of this one because please call me if this is on the test, because I think this is just silly. But most heating systems these days is forced warm air, which means there's a furnace somewhere, either in the crawl space or in the attic, and it blows hot air through ductwork into all the rooms. I guess another sort of heating would be a radiator, the old style.
Sure. In
steam
an old
radiator.
home, you might have a radiator, but a forced air heating system is very common here, and it's self-explanatory, really. It literally forces air through your house.
Don't worry about all the other words, just the top word, forced air heating system.
Yes.
And please let me know what you find on the tests.
All right, good. We're almost there, guys. So you have been introduced to all of the different terms that you could possibly see on the test. So now Elena and I are going to wrap it up for you. We have this tradition of drawing a house on the whiteboard to help you understand each and every one of these terms. So I'm going to start it off.
Okay.
And the first thing we have here is we have the ground.
Right?
And the very first step, can you remember what the very first step, Elena, is?
Dig the footings.
Dig the footings. You remember the dig the footings? We got the what's it called? The backhoe.
Right.
The backhoe came and dug the footings. All right, so I am gonna draw little footings for us.
Okay.
And
You should draw a bigger one for a
Ooh.
foundation pier.
there'll be a pier, a foundation pier. Dun 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 dun. In the center there. That's excellent. And what do we fill those footings with? What do they get filled with?
They get filled with concrete.
Concrete. And they should be dug above or below the frost line.
This looks like water. They should be dug below.
Below the frost line. All right, fill in the concrete.
And there's
Excellent.
kind of a layer there, but
Excellent. So we have our
Okay.
footings dug. The next step is we're going to come and we're going to build the foundation walls. So we've dug the footings, and now we are going to put up. Oh, well, I'm confusing my words because this is a pier. Write the word pier here in the middle here.
okay.
All right, so we have our foundation walls. These are usually concrete blocks stacked on top of each other. This is a crawl space home right here. This is a crawl space with all those dirty, nasty things that come in the crawl space. And then we built our foundation walls. This is lovely. We are going to go ahead and put, what's the thing we put right on top of the foundation wall before we do any other framing?
You mean it's the first member of framing?
The first thing.
It's a sill plate.
A sill plate. Don't
Yes.
forget the sill plate. So you want to draw in blue the sill plate just for fun?
Sure.
You write it? I'll draw it if you write it. I'll draw
Okay.
it. So the sill plate,
This is a cross-section house.
yep, the cross section goes right on top. It
Okay.
just sets
I thought
right,
you were going to do it this
right
way.
on top of the foundation wall. It's that treated material that goes on top of the foundation wall. Even the pier gets a little 2x6 or 2x4 sill plate. We get a little 2x6, 2x4 sill plate. So now we've protected the whole foundation. We've done the first sill plate. And the crawl gets a little special little beam here we'll put in. But at this point, we are ready to put on our floor system. And our floor system is made up of lots and lots of, what are these?
I-joists.
Yeah, floor joists. So they might be I-joists. They might be I-joists like we saw. You saw the little
Yeah,
little
it's
I.
holding a little eye.
Or they might be dimensional lumber. They might be normal 2x10s or 2x12s. But whatever they are, they get laid in just like this. These are all floor
Not
joists.
just like this. This is wonky.
So right floor joist for them
Okay.
there. Let's pretend there's something holding up the foundation back here.
Okay, then what
Excellent.
gets on top?
So on top of the floor joist, hopefully they come and they glue and screw the subfloor. Those big sheets of tongue and groove that you saw in the video. Those big sheets of tongue and groove. And they go on top. And now the subfloor is down. This is lovely.
Yeah.
You can walk on it now.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And now we're time to build the walls. We're time to build the walls of the house. And the walls, let's This wall has lots of what? What are these?
Studs.
Studs. Studs.
They're
Studs,
vertical.
studs.
Vertical framing members.
Might be 2x4s, might be 2x6s. Those are studs. But we forgot to leave an opening for the front door.
Uh-oh.
So we need what for the front door?
A header.
We need a big beefy piece of wood here called a header.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll
Oh, there you go. And remember, the header is used to support the load from up above and distribute it to either side.
So you'll
We
see.
need these headers.
You'll see extra framing when you see a header in the wild. You'll see extra framing on either side to carry the load.
Nice. Excellent. So we've got our header.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our studs sitting on the sill plates here and the foundation walls and the footing. Now we're going to put a roof on this, and the roof we're going to put on is going to be a stick-framed roof, and it is going to have,
Oh, what are those called?
this is the word right
that's
here.
The word?
This is called the ridge board. So that ridge board, that very top piece of wood up here, and this is a stick-framed roof. This is a stick-framed roof. So this is lovely. We built. Oh, and what shape is this roof, Elena? What kind of roof is this?
This is a gable roof, Jim.
A gable roof. How fun is that? This is a gable roof.
It is.
Unfortunately, we didn't look at the plans, and we forgot that this should not be a stick-framed roof. This should actually be. We have to redo it. It should be
A trussed roof?
a trussed roof. It's a trussed roof now. Dun 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 dun.
It's a pretty expensive mistake.
And let's take a look at this trussed roof because
Okay.
it hangs over.
It does.
It does. It hangs over. Do you see that right there? It hangs over. So this whole situation here of hanging over is called the eave. So that's the eave. That's this whole situation. Now on the eave, there's a few things going on. Oh, you're right where I'm going to go.
Okay.
So the eave, I'm going to erase this for a second. The
Okay.
eave has a fascia board where the gutter gets attached. And then underneath the eave, this is called the soffit. The soffit. If you're in Amanda's class, it's like the soft underbelly. The soft underbelly is called the soffit. It has all those little holes in it we
holes.
talked about. So this whole situation is called the eave. This underneath, when you look up at it, is called the soffit. And then this piece is called the fascia. And the fascia is where the gutter gets nailed. So those three words are really tricky. They get confused a lot. Fascia, soffit,
Eve.
All right. This house has a sort of heating system in it. It does not have radiators in it. It has what?
A forced heating system. What's it called?
Forced warm air.
Forced warm
Forced
air.
warm air. So picture forced warm air blowing through this house. What words do we miss? Oh, the sheathing, right?
Yeah, the sheathing goes on the floor, on the joists.
Right.
The sheathing also goes on the roof.
And even on the walls.
And even on the walls.
So the sheathing are those big pieces of plywood or OSB that get put on the walls, put on the roof, that really hold the house together.
Otherwise your house would fall down. Like a house of cards.
Now this situation up here, Elaine, this angle of the roof, you remember what that's called?
The roof pitch?
The roof pitch. Yes, so if you live up north, you got the steep pitch roof where the snow falls off.
Yep.
And if you maybe more southern states, the pitch can be a little less, but this situation is called the pitch.
Yes.
At the roof pitch. So
Roof pitch, roof style. I think we got it all. I think you're ready to build a house.
all right, you're definitely ready to take this test. Remember, 1 to 2 questions from this segment. We hope you enjoyed our drawings. Thank you so much for watching our show, and good luck on the test.
Good luck. You got this.